One of the biggest cases recently is the whole hashtag BreakFreePersona Trend that's popped up a couple weeks ago as of writing this video, where annoying ass Western fans basically just pull out to any Atlas related tweet port begging for Persona 3 to 5 on Nintendo Switch.
We want Persona on Switch, Persona 3, 4, 5, 5R, anything.
I mean, okay, just fuck these other games, I guess.
You see, if you're actually listening, Fidel said anything, so obviously that means any Persona game, not just 3, 4, and 5.
And I'm always down for expressing what you want, you know what I'm saying? But it's another thing entirely for a literal Atlas West employee to encourage people to essentially keep fucking begging for these games without any confirmation that it's even gonna happen.
If what she said was so bad, then wouldn't Atlas retract the statement?
So now we have absolute morons spamming Atlas Japan's tweets completely unrelated to Persona with this dumbass hashtag, and I just kind of think that's disrespectful as fuck. The 2019 Atlas JP consumer survey was completely ruined by Western media outlets reporting on it like it's something new when they do this every fucking year to gauge what their target audience expects from them in the future. You know, their interests, their purchases, and if they would be interested in the possibility of any ports in the future. Which, of course, the second the people in the West got word of it, started flooding it with responses, pretty much defeating the point of having a Japanese survey for the Japanese audience.
This line of logic just seems ass backwards to me, because wouldn't a company want as many opinions as humanly possible? And even if they didn't, they could just like block an IP address that isn't from Japan, but obviously they haven't done that because they want everyone's opinion.
And you know, making matters even worse, since most of these absolute fucking chads don't speak Japanese, they mistook Atlas gauging interest in potential ports to Nintendo Switch as basically a fucking confirmation that they come in a Switch.
No, just no. Literally no one thinks this way.
And yeah, did y'all even know that Atlas West had their own survey for us?
So earlier he said, or he put on the screen, that Atlas West has no bearing over what Atlas Japan makes, but if they don't, then why would Atlas West have their own survey? They wouldn't need a survey if Atlas West truly has no bearing over what Atlas Japan makes.
Because I sure as fuck didn't talk. I see nobody talk about it because gaming journalists in the West was too busy, you know, sticking their nose in the business of Atlas Japan's survey, which wasn't made for them.
Again, getting as many opinions as you can is a good thing.
In a language they don't know, for people that aren't fucking us. Like, fellas, I don't know if y'all notice, but Atlas is a Japanese company that makes games for a Japanese audience. Now, the biggest goal that many Atlas directors have expressed is that they don't make games for everybody.
Wow, good job on putting words in his mouth there, dude.
What's wrong with you, bro? What the heck? You tripping, bro? You tripping?
You know, it was like a little funny. Like, I give it like a 2 funny out of 10. Alright, here's where the video gets full on stupid.
And to bring up the Nintendo Switch again, even looking at the sales numbers for Persona 5 Scramble shows that interest in Switch ports of Persona games are pretty minimal at best. Of the reported week 1 sales of 160,000 copies sold, only 29% of sales were made up of the Switch port, and a whopping 71% were of the PS4 version.
Okay, so there's 2 big, like, stupid flaws with this argument. 1, it's not even out in the rest of the world yet. It's only in Japan. 2, it's a sequel to a game that you cannot play on the Switch. And I guess, like, a third is that it's a spin-off, so it's obviously not going to be as big of a seller as the base Persona 5 or Persona 5 Royal.
So, you know, not even the primary audience that Atlas makes their games for see any interest in porting Persona games to the Switch. And if a brand new spin-off of the most popular game in Atlas's history sold that poorly on the Switch, I'm pretty sure pushing older games that have already been re-released to death won't change that shit anytime soon, you know what I'm saying?
So by re-released to death, he means twice? Because every Persona game, as far as I know, every mainline Persona game has been re-released once. It's for a total of 2 games. So that is not re-released to death. You cannot play Persona 4, 3, 2, 1 on a PlayStation 4. You just can't. And that's not only an inconvenience, it's just fucking stupid.
You know, wanting something is fine. Expressing your want for something is alright too. But being so fucking petty, you know, so obnoxious, so fucking rude about it, where you're spamming tweets unrelated to Persona with this dumbass hashtag, while also ignorant of the facts that you are an incredibly obnoxious vocal minority, is insane. You know, every Persona 5 spinoff so far has failed miserably.
Man's really coming out with the leafy animation of the little character on the corner of the screen. Oh my god.
Yeah, I heard that the anime adaptation was, something that existed. Persona Q2 was released on a dying handheld to mediocre sales.
Bro, you just gave the reasons as to why it failed. It's not the game's fault that it's on the 3DS. That's Atlus.
And based on the week 1 sales, Persona 3 and 5 Dancing are looking to be not only the worst selling Persona spinoff, not only the worst selling game in the Persona series, but the worst selling game in the entire Megami Tensei franchise.
What I think he's trying to say is that all the Persona 5 spinoffs have failed, therefore Persona 5 on Switch would fail? Like, I don't really get what connection he's trying to make here, because it does not make any sense.
What I hate is that there's just a mass majority of folks simping for Persona ports solely for the fact that they never played any of the games before.
But how is that a bad thing? More attention to your franchise is a good thing. That means more people are coming in, enjoying the games, and then paying for the games. So that means more money for Atlus, and that means more money going back into the franchise, which means better games. This is not a bad thing. You're literally just gatekeeping. That's what this is.
And think that Atlus should waste their time, money, and resources porting their games just for that, which by itself is an extremely selfish-ass thing to ask for.
I would agree if the games already weren't on PC or something. None of the games are on PC, except for Persona 1, but apparently that port's bad or something. I don't even know. But if you want to play Persona 4, the definitive version of the game, you have to buy a Vita. If you want to play Persona 1, 2, or 3, the definitive versions of those games, you have to buy a PSP or a Vita. If you want to play 5, you have to buy at least a PS3. All that should be on one system. Is that not just common sense? Atlus doesn't get revenue from used games. Atlus would get revenue from a collection. Is it that hard to understand?
But like, come on now, dog. Be real. Why feign your interest in a series if you're not going to go out of your way to play any of them?
It shouldn't cost $300 just to enjoy one series. It should all just be on one system.
You got all these different ways of experiencing the games on modern consoles, but instead of just, you know, buying this shit.
I still don't see how a collection is a bad thing. Like, he hasn't said a collection's a bad thing, but he's never even mentioned the inkling of a collection. Like, all these games should just be on one system. I shouldn't have to buy 3 other systems just to enjoy one franchise. Remember when Kingdom Hearts had this problem? Then they fixed it. Why can't Persona fix it?
Yo, even the dude who started this whole ass hashtag hilariously neglects to mention Persona 1 or 2 at all when talking about the games that need remakes or ports.
It's almost as if all of these games need a remake or a port. Like, not one is not more special than the other. All these games need re-releases on current gen systems, other than 5, but that needs to be on Switch, because it's a third-party franchise. It should not be locked to PlayStation for literally no reason.
You know, Persona 2, the duology that needs 2 consoles to play fully in English, where you gotta sell your whole ass soul just to get a copy of Eternal Punishment on PlayStation 1.
Exactly, so why are you acting like people who are asking for these games on Switch, or just current gen in general, are like menaces to society?
Or, you know, the original Persona, where the PS1 version has over half the content removed from the game, and the PSP version is the only way to play it fully, but you gotta deal with this doo-doo-ass soundtrack.
Thanks for the music, I guess? Like, what point are you trying to prove here?
Now, there's a whole gang of Megami Tensei games that need ports or some kind of virtual console re-release.
Just because people aren't particularly mentioning Shin Megami Tensei games does not mean that people don't want Shin Megami Tensei games on the Switch. It's just that, as of right now, Persona is more popular. Therefore, more people are going to be asking for Persona than Shin Megami Tensei.
Now, these games have never been brought to the West at all. SMT1 is only available on an older version of iOS and ain't never been updated for modern devices. so it's essentially unobtainable and unplayable. But for sure, dog, keep asking for these games, which are, released on one of the best-selling consoles of all time, which can easily be bought for 30 bones a piece.
Again, you should not have to own old systems and old games. They should just be on the newest system in a collection. Like, why not? Literally, why not? Other than your precious Shin Megami Tensei isn't getting ported to every machine under the sun, neither is Persona. A lot of things need ports right now. Not just Shin Megami Tensei, not just Persona. It's just that inevitably Persona is more likely to take priority over Shin Megami Tensei.
And don't get it twisted, I understand that saying shit like this is like talking to a brick wall, because the people who do shit like this, they don't listen. They don't really care either. Since most people who look at a video like this will just come on a shits, read the title, hear me say I don't like their favorite game that they've never played before, and hit me with that, "You are gatekeeping and elitist. I win. Bye-bye."
And I know one of you is going to comment that I haven't played Persona 5, so I'm just going to prove it right now to just get it out of the way. Wow, would you look at that? It's Persona 5 on RPCS3. How much time have I put into Persona 5? Oh my god. 76 hours.
And just move on, because people don't like it when their interests or attitudes are the least bit challenged, which ironically enough is just infinitely more elitist to try and silence or ignore people that disagree with you.
Sounds pretty ironic to me.
And I'm not trying to say that elitism don't exist, you know what I'm saying? But you sure it's coming from these old heads who like SMT and Persona 1 and 2?
So this person here said SMT Nocturne is hard, and then he has to go with the Lamau. Wow, really nice words of encouragement you got there. I don't really see the need to be so demeaning to other people just because they find something difficult that you don't.
Recently, from what I've just seen, it just seems like folk can't even mention SMT or Persona 1 or 2 without being labeled as elitists or people who don't know what they're talking about, regurgitating the same platitudes you hear about all the older games.
And sure, that behavior is disrespectful, but people are just going to be disrespectful on the internet. That's just how it is.
And it's low-key annoying seeing people who have never played the games parrot criticisms of them without ever knowing if what they're saying is true or not, perpetuating that cycle of misinformation that I don't really fuck with. So while I'm here and I'm on the topic, let me take the time to clear up a lot of shit I hear tossed around about Persona 1 and 2 and the older SMT franchise.
And here's where the video goes completely unrelated to the actual start of the video, so I'm probably going to be cutting up a lot of this. There's some small things I want to talk about, but I don't think that having the whole video here is necessary at this point.
No, they're not.
Difficulty is subjective.
The only hard thing about SMT games is the process of learning the game's mechanics.
Seems fair enough.
Which is something that you can say about literally every single video game ever.
So, by your logic, something like Pac-Man has a difficult learning curve? Not every video game has a difficult learning curve.
If you want an easy game to get into the SMT franchise, try out SMT4. It's cheap, a little less heavy-handed on the symbolism, and it's almost as easily accessible as the new Persona games. If you like the Persona games because of their characters and the plot, you'd really like Digital Devil Saga and the Persona 2 duology. They're infinitely better, and something I think everyone should experience once in their lives. And if you want a more traditional, classic SMT experience, hit up Strange Journey. Or even Soul Hackers if you want a more lighthearted story, you know what I'm saying? Some of the best Mega 10 games are accessible and really easy to get into.
He keeps hammering in how these games are somehow accessible, yet these games are stuck on platforms like the DS and the PlayStation 2, which you likely don't own anymore. These games just need to be on the Switch, or at least on the PC, so they can be forever immortalized.
Yes. I still fuck with the notion that fan bases are important in keeping the interest of a franchise alive. And it's hard to allow people in when said community is full of obnoxious-ass entitled scumbags.
How is wanting Persona 5, or just Persona in general, on the Nintendo Switch a scumbag thing to do? Sorry for asking a basic thing of a multi-billion-dollar company. I'll try harder next time.
Hopefully with this video I helped outline the issues I've personally taken notice of from the Persona community. And with this, maybe y'all can take some steps to reduce the problems y'all got going on. But honestly, I don't actually care that much. I just think it's kind of ironic that the Persona franchise, which is about being true to yourself, acknowledging your flaws, and embracing every aspect of who you really are, is, preceded by a fan base of good actors who feign their interest in games they've never played before and have no interest of playing, who refuse to acknowledge their toxic behavior, and who tend to project that destructive, negative, petty-ass, entitled attitude onto others.
Now, putting up a picture of fan site with no context, that does not help me. What are you talking about?
And if you ask me, that's pretty damn funny.
So what I've concluded from this video is that this person, despite hating port beggars, wants ports of Atlus games on the Switch. Like, pick your poison, dude. Porting old games to new systems not only gives them new life, it makes more money, and it makes more fans. So that's literally just the best thing in the world. I don't see how porting Persona 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to the Switch is going to be a bad thing. I think the only reason he doesn't want it to happen is because he already has a way to play the game, and I guess just doesn't want other people to play the game. Like, there's no downside to it. I don't see what the point of this video even was. And sure, it's unfortunate that SMT games aren't getting ports like Persona hopefully will. I mean, but at the end of the day, Persona is just more popular at this point. If that may change, that may not, but as of right now, Persona is more popular, therefore it's going to have more interest not only from the public, but from Atlus. And now I personally want to get into BreakFreePersona as a whole. So my first thing is, people are saying that Persona won't come to the Switch because it's a PS4 exclusive. So even though Catherine Fullbody came to the Switch, when that was supposed to be a PS4 exclusive, it's somehow different for Persona? Not only that, if Persona truly was a Sony exclusive franchise, then why would there be Persona Q games on the 3DS? Especially Scramble too, because if Sony had more stake in Persona, I don't think that would have ever even remotely happened. And the thing I'm also seeing a lot is that people are saying that Persona 5 specifically would be too hard to run on the Switch, even though it's a PlayStation 3 game. Like, come on now. And if we're talking about Royal, then Royal looks almost exactly the same to 5. So I don't think performance would be a problem at all. And I see this retort way too often of just buy a PS4, buy a PS3, buy this PlayStation console to play a game that you may or may not like. It's just so dumb. Like, I just want to be able to play Persona 5 in bed at a constant 30 FPS, unlike this stupid emulator. Is that too hard to ask for? Is that really too hard to ask for? So yeah, that's it. I just wanted to talk about BreakFreePersona and this video. Nothing really else to say other than don't be a dick to port beggars, because they just want to play the same game that you have the luxury to play.